It's just off.
It doesn't always.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't always. I mean, I love enthusiastic young filmmakers, but, the enthusiasm alone isn't going to get you a good film or like you say, like a good radio show either. The enthusiasm and a love for that genre alone is not going to get it for you. You need, some decent equipment. You need, which is affordable now, but you also need a good story, a good script, like you say, good content, good guests. And you need to be able to present it well, as a host and everything, because you're a great host. You know how to talk, you know how to present. You've done this for years. But I've been on other shows too where they had a hard time conducting an interview because they simply didn't have the experience. They were having a hard time. It's like, it should be very conversational, and if something opens up, you should not be afraid to go on a tangent and explore a question. If something opens up and a part of that conversation, with a one question, instead of just going on to your next question, if something is of interest there, then you really kind of want to pursue that. If it's a little more organic and it's a little more interesting because your audience is asking themselves that question, so you're going to ask that question. Well, some people don't have that same inclination. They're just going to go down their list of questions for you. And that can that can be a matter of time and things too. But a lot of times it's about being a seasoned host and interviewer. So it's got to do with that. And the same thing in indie filmmaking, how experienced are you? Do you have experience with this? I mean, I worked, for over a decade and worked on a lot of other films and did some producing on several other films before I got to the point where I was going to make my own. And I'm glad that I did. I learned so much working on all these other films that by the time I wanted to make my own, I had my production partner, Vinny. He's very experienced. I mean, his horror pedigree goes all the way back to Roger Corman's Sorority House Massacre in the 80s. So he's done a lot of these, and he's starred in a lot of films. He starred in the film that we met on, which is another John Lachago production called Blood Gnome. Another recommendation if you like that. And that's a cool horror film that's set with these little blood-drinking gnomes, but it's set in the BDSM underground, which makes it very kinky and very fun. You guys would like it. But we were both brought a lot of experience in when we finally stopped and, decided to make Dark Realm together. And, that's what I would recommend to anybody out there is get some experience, first. Make a few things and go out there and test some things out. But, you've got to have a plan and I think some experience in a lot of things too. And in indie, filmmaking, I'm all for it. In fact, love discovering new actors in a part because sometimes a big name actor is not good for a part simply because if they have too much of their own persona in the way, you can't get lost in that character. All you see is that actor, Yeah. So it's fun to see a new actor play a character because then they can really, get you into that character because you're not so caught up in their own actor persona. That's kind of cool.
That's a problem because I knew a couple famous actors in my life, and even they would admit to themselves they thought at one point one of them who was very famous. He did one of the very first spy shows on TV with a black actor. And I'm not going to go into it too much, but he actually told me a couple of times he didn't think he was a good actor. He thought he was a better writer. But, the problem is he said he carried his own personal traits too much in the parts he played. He couldn't really adapt fully into the part he was playing. He was more himself.
Yeah, well, and a lot of actors are. I think those are the ones that are more almost the movie star types that are, and that's part of, getting typecast and things. When you're good at something, especially if you're in the bigger Hollywood studio system, they want you to do that all the time because they know they can bank on that. They know that's reliable and part of what the audience comes to you for. Even though you're, an audience, for a film and for an actor will follow them wherever they go. If they go in and do something else, as long as they can pull it off, they'll follow them there. And Hollywood should have learned that a long time ago. But even smaller films will do that. They want certain actors for certain parts, and that's part of somebody's own kind of personal brand too. It's like, I want to do parts that are, that I am also attracted to that are all about, kind of, magical and dark and mysterious, and even the big bad and playing the villain in some things. That's what I'm good at. That's what I like to do. So I do that a lot. Can I go outside of that? Can I do comedy and stuff? I'm sure I can, because I do comedy on stage, because I have developed the timing for that over the years of spending time on stage. So, and even though I haven't done a lot of that, I get inquiries for that. And I have my filmmaking friends talk about that all the time. But yeah, I mean, when you go back and look at even something like Star Wars, it's like we didn't know Mark Hamill or Carrie Fisher or Harrison Ford when you first saw Star Wars,
No, they were nobodies.
But nobody knew them, exactly, your big name in that film was like Sir Alec Guinness, playing Obi-Wan. But it wasn't your leads, which was really interesting. But that's, and that's part of what made that so iconic, because we came to know them in those roles. And I love being able to discover people like that. It's like, that was my problem. It's like Tom Cruise playing the vampire Lestat, which there was a huge uproar over, and even Anne Rice didn't like it at first, And, Tom Cruise is great, and I think he's great in more of a sci-fi thing, and he's certainly an action film kind of guy in the Mission Impossible movies and stuff. But I couldn't buy him playing Lestat because I could never get past what I like to call his Tom Cruisiness. It was like I talked about earlier, an actor who you can't get by their own personal persona to get lost in the part of that character. And I love those books so much by Anne Rice, and I love the character Lestat so much, I could not get by Tom Cruise to get down into that character of Lestat.
He couldn't actually. He tried. He tried, mm-hmm. and it didn't go over.
He did. His acting was really, it was a good performance. It was a very good performance. My problem wasn't with his performance even. My problem was with it being Tom Cruise, and they could put him in all the blonde hair and vampire makeup they want. I could not. It's his voice. It's everything. His own personality is so dominant because he's been in so many things and leads in so many different movies that I could not. I needed a character actor to play Lestat. Really did. I'd rather an actor I knew nothing about played Lestat. A really good actor, preferably British, doing. But he just. I could not get by him. In the role, and that was my problem with it. It wasn't his performance at all. It was just the fact that he's just too branded as himself, That's
the problem. People get branded. Hey, Ryan, are you still out here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I am here.
Yeah, do you have any, because we're going to have to let him go here in a second. Do you have any questions you want to ask him before we...
Oh, I could probably go on all night, but I know we got to cut this short. I'm just curious, where are you located, Ron?
I'm out of Chicago.
Okay, fine business. Okay.
Yeah. I'm right in the middle of everything. So I am out here in Chicago, but I've worked in LA a lot, and I've worked, and then literally with the live show, I've worked all over the world. I mean, I've been everywhere from Hollywood to Hong Kong with the Gothic Illusion show.
Oh wow!
Well, I really hope you make it out to Seattle, because I think I would enjoy coming to see you.
I would love to hang out with you guys, and I'd love to get you to the show and come and even be in studio with you, because that way I'm there on time.
yeah. And that way I wouldn't kind of dribble in my pants, panicking,
Sorry about that.
Oh. Now, hey, before we
I'm there, I'm nailed down.
Now, didn't you have somebody played in Doctor Who? Was one of the stars, one of the Doctor Who series that was associated with you and what you were doing? Or am I mixing you up with somebody else? Actress.
I've met Jenna Coleman.
Okay.
Who was one of the recent companions on the Doctor. I'd love to be associated. I would play any evil alien. I'd play anything they wanted on Doctor Who. I would love to do anything associated with Doctor Who, because that would be a dream gig for me. I mean,
I don't know.
I love that show. What?
I watched it from the day it started. Now my concern is a woman Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can get into that.
Really? Well, now, why is that? Because I am all for it. I am loving this idea. They've teased it for a long time. They even, I mean, the whole time they made the Master into Missy and everything, which, by the way, I loved. I don't know how you felt about it, but I loved that. I mean, and when they were taking a main character like that and switching her gender, his gender to hers, I mean, I was just like, okay, they're just testing it out to see if if the audience could handle the Doctor flipping genders on them, because they've teased it, they've talked about it. And then they've finally done it with the Doctor herself now. So I cannot wait to. I'm so anxious. That I don't think the new series drops until October, but I can't wait to see what they do with it. I'm very excited about that. I mean, in terms of taking that character and reminding us all how alien the Doctor is. I mean, doing a gender swap is certainly one of the ways to do that. So, it has been inhabited and done by male actors for, ever since its inception in 1963. But I'm very excited to see what they do.
Oh yeah, so
with
much.
Jodie. Yeah. And then I hope they come and ask me to be the next Doctor. I'll be all about that.
Oh yeah.
So. I'm very.
Wow, we got
very
just to let you know, we have a lot of people listening tonight. A lot of people. Oh,
awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody.
A lot of women out there actually listening tonight, which is kind of really surprising. I mean, I've been watching all these people, and I'm so involved in talking to you that I haven't looked at the chat side yet, which I got to get in the habit here before June to do that. So, people, I'm really, really sorry that I haven't been reading your messages, but I mean, yeah.
Do we have questions from the audience? I mean, I'd be happy to take a question from the audience as well.
Well, they're basically saying that they like the movie.
Dark Realm?
Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. Thank you, everybody.
What's not
Please
to like about it?
Well, I feel that way, but I made the damn thing, so I'm supposed to feel that way about it. So, but I appreciate it. Share it with all your, spooky, creepy, loving horror friends and stuff out there. Make sure they know about it. Share the hell out of it, because I'm trying to get everybody to go take a look at the movie. And if anybody out there wants because it's out there streaming on Amazon, but if you want the DVD, that's also available on my website as well.
Okay.
At @fitzgeraldrealm.com.
Okay, sir. Hey, we got to run. I will send you an email because I would like to get you on towards the end of June, and I want to go over some of the, I said, some of the things what it takes to make a horror movie, and I know you did some writing in it, and just get into it, touch that, and I think you did a good thing, and maybe I should watch the movie all the way through, and then my wife needs to watch out the cremation of the. No, I'm not going to say that. She'll never have sex with me again.
Yeah, that's coming up. That's my closer many times to the big show, and that is the same in the movie. So you haven't gotten to that part yet. You'll like the way that looks on a big stage and everything. So since you've talked about it several times, keep watching and you'll see that in there. And but yeah, watch the rest of the movie, and then we'll talk about that some more. We can talk about any aspect of indie horror you want to. I really fallen in love with the filmmaking end of it and stuff. I mean, from the first time I was on the set of The Item, because they asked me, I have this persona that I created for on stage, which is just me turned up a little bit, and they came to me, my filmmaking friends, the directors came to me and said, hey, you have this cool look and everything, and you studied acting. Would you be in my horror film? And I said yes, because I love horror films. That's part of what inspires the stage show. So luckily for me, that's all kind of a nice big crossover audience, the kind of movies that I make. My audience would like that, or my stage show. But ever since I was on set for The Item, I was just sitting there going, I was so geeked out that I finally got to make horror films that I've loved since I was a kid and be in them. And I was just like, yes, this is great. And I love the experience so much I continue to do it. So any aspect of filmmaking, indie horror filmmaking you'd like to talk about, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Hey, you have a good evening, and maybe I'm going to go bed here in a few minutes, I think I'm going to finish watching the movie. I know my wife worked like 16-hour day today, so I mean she'll be snoring. I can watch it and she won't even realize what I'm watching.
Yeah, go watch the second half of that and think.